Hi, friends. Um, my name's Megan Kohler, and this is pretty much the first video I've ever made of myself that I've shared online. And I'm making it to respond to some recent blowback that has occurred with respect to my fair presentation, which I gave a couple of days ago. Some of the conference goers were excited about my presentation and they shared some slides. And I think there have been some people who saw the slides without understanding the context and have attached some meaning to it that that really doesn't relate to what I was talking about. And so there's been like a lot of controversy around this. And so I've had a lot of people sort of demanding that I meet their demands for clarity around my slides. And so this is, so I thought I would just get on here and try to, I'm not going to spend a lot of time trying to clarify the slides. And the reason for that is that the argument that I make in my presentation is fairly complex. There's a reason why I spent 45 minutes on it. And so I'm a writer for the Deseret News, and typically my cap for articles is 1,200 words. That's not very much. And there's a lot of things that I can't write about because I don't have the space to explore it properly. So that's one of the reasons why I was so excited to give this presentation, is because I knew that it would give me the time to go way more in depth than I typically can in my articles. And my presentation, I spent several months preparing this presentation, but the material that I am presenting has been years in the making. I have been gathering data and not like personally conducting research, but just finding the data out there. And I've been studying the arguments on both sides of this issue, reading books, and I've written about a lot of the things that are in my presentation in, small tidbits along the way, but I've never been able to really pull it together in a comprehensive way until now. And one of the reasons why I think that it's important to do this, to kind of present things in a long form way and sort of ask people to consider the entirety of the argument, is because I think the greatest perceptual shifts and information syntheses occur when you're able to take lots of seemingly disparate pieces of information, or even ideas that seem on the surface to be contradictory, and you're able to present them under a framework that unites them and leads to that shift in understanding. And being that this is such a fraught topic, that it's that the place of women in the church is such a contested issue, I think that this is one place especially where we need that. And so I spend a lot of time in my presentation sort of bolstering the criticisms, right? Because I am attempting to wrestle with the best arguments against the church as a patriarchal, sexist organization. And also I'm trying to capture the feelings of women who I believe are coming from a place of sincerity, who are concerned about gender equality. I want to honor their feelings and their perspective on this, because I don't think that we can really persuade people to look at the church through a different lens unless we take that seriously. And so, like, if somebody were to take some of my slides from the part of my presentation where I'm presenting the concerns that I'm trying to address, then it would make it look like I was saying something that's actually the opposite of what I was saying. And the slides in question that have kind of generated a bunch of blowback, they're not those slides. But they are part of an overall argument that is defending the church's organization, and that is defending men in the church, and presenting a new way of understanding the church and men in the church in relation to the question of gender equality that I think demonstrates how our church takes this issue seriously and remedies disparities that occur between the sexes, not just in the church, but at all levels of society. So I think this is really important. And I am defending the church, and I am defending men in the church. And other than that, I can't really go into a lot of detail about this because I would have to cut out in order to just respond in real time to people that are demanding clarifications from me. In order to do that, I would have to boil my arguments down in a way that weakens them. Okay, and so I think it is worth considering the totality of what I'm saying. And so I am asking for people to be patient. And I don't know when my full remarks will be available, but in the meantime, I have written lots of articles on this issue that people can read, that I think will give you a sense for what I'm saying in my presentation. But yeah, I can't just boil everything down to a Twitter post. And I think it's a real mistake when we attack people for not being able to do that. I think we are losing a lot of understanding by doing that. And I think it's a mistake to believe that everything is that simple, that everything can be understood with minimal context, that if something is true, then I should be able to convey that in 160 characters. That puts a lot of constraints on our ability to grow and understand and engage with complex issues. I think the costs of doing that are too high. I think we lose too much. So I'm not going to respond to those demands for clarity in my Twitter posts. I have had one person who seemed sufficiently sincere that I did try to give some clarity on one of my slides, and he was very gracious and recanted what he had said, and I really appreciate that. But I can't do that for every person that wants to take issue with some slides that were shared not by me or FAIR as an organization out of context. Doing so would just it would kind of undermine the whole point of all that time and energy that I spent preparing the remarks that I did. So anyway, I really want to bring greater understanding to this issue. I really want to undercut criticisms against the church on this issue, and I also want to engage with people who have sincere concerns and assure them that there are really good reasons for being invested in this church and optimistic about the way it empowers women. And that's hard. Satisfying all of those requirements is really hard. And sometimes I get the feeling that people that are super quick to tear things down don't have an understanding of how difficult it can be to engage with multiple audiences coming from multiple perspectives on an issue that is really emotionally difficult. And so I just think we need to have a little bit of grace and patience and a willingness to reserve judgments until we've accumulated enough information. And I'm going to get off of my soapbox now. Thank you.